Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. This time, we're going to be looking at the world of paraprofessionals in inclusive classrooms.
Okay.
We're taking excerpts from the Paraprofessional's Handbook
Yeah.
to try to equip you, the listener, with an understanding of just how critical a role these often unsung heroes play in creating a supportive learning environment for all students.
I think it's a really fascinating look into the day-to-day realities and the evolving responsibility of these really essential members of any educational team.
The book starts with this anecdote about an inclusion facilitator's chaotic first day.
Oh, wow.
A student is having a meltdown, another one's hiding under a table, and the paraprofessionals are like completely overwhelmed. It really sets the stage for just how intense this job can be.
Yeah, I mean, it really highlights the challenges, but also, I think, the incredible dedication of paraprofessionals, right? They're often thrust into these incredibly demanding situations. And I think the book really emphasizes the need for, really robust training and support to help them navigate all these complexities.
Yeah, it makes me wonder, what's it actually like for these paraprofessionals to be thrown into the deep end, often with minimal guidance?
The book doesn't shy away from those realities. It really kind of delves into the emotional and practical challenges that paraprofessionals face, particularly as their roles have shifted so dramatically over the years.
Oh, interesting. So it's not just about assisting with basic needs anymore.
Exactly. The role has really evolved from primarily caregiving to becoming, active learning facilitators,
Wow.
working directly with students on, academic and social goals. And I think that shift also reflects a deeper change in, the philosophy behind inclusive education itself.
What's fascinating to me is that it's not just about physical inclusion, right? Just placing students with disabilities in a mainstream classroom isn't enough.
You've hit on a really, really crucial point, and that is that it's about fostering a genuine sense of belonging.
Right.
And I think the book really drives this home with a very powerful quote, actually, that compares the human need to belong to our basic needs for food and water.
Wow, that's a powerful statement.
Right.
It really highlights the critical role paraprofessionals play in creating an environment where every student feels valued and connected.
Yeah.
But how do they navigate the complexities of disability labels? Aren't those labels sometimes part of the problem?
That's a great question. The book acknowledges both the benefits and the potential downsides of labels. On the one hand, they provide a common language for professional and families, right? And it can ensure students get the support they need. But they can also lead to stereotyping and create a sense that a student's disability, defines them.
I see what you mean. It's like that example in the book about Jamie.
Right.
He was constantly singled out for talking in class, even though other students were doing the same thing. It's like the label amplified that behavior in the teacher's eyes.
Exactly, exactly. It's a classic case of, unintentional bias, and it really underscores the importance of seeing the whole student, beyond their label.
That leads me to think about the book's emphasis on treating all students with dignity and respect.
Right.
And that ties into this idea of presuming competence, which I found intriguing. Can you unpack that a little more?
Yeah, presuming competence basically means approaching each student with the belief in their potential regardless of their disability label.
Right.
It's about setting high expectations and understanding that they have the capacity to learn and grow.
It makes me think about times that I've felt underestimated. It can be incredibly discouraging, even for adults.
Absolutely. And the book shares a really powerful story about a paraprofessional named Kathy, who actually, changed her entire perspective on the student she worked with. She shifted from using negative descriptors like, lazy and sneaky to positive ones like relaxed and intelligent.
It's amazing how our perceptions can shape a student's experience, for better or for worse.
Yeah.
It reminds me of this whole Velcro phenomenon the book described, how overly attached support can actually hinder a student's independence.
That's such a vivid analogy, and it emphasizes, the importance of finding that balance between providing support and fostering independence.
Right.
And I think sometimes the most effective support is almost invisible, like a tiger camouflaged in the jungle, right? Ready to step in when needed, but also giving students the space to thrive on their own.
So it's about being present, but not intrusive. The book mentions strategies like arranging the classroom to minimize the need for constant proximity, which brings us to this crucial aspect of social support. The book opens this section with Seth's story, the student who sits alone at lunch, isolated from his peers. It's heartbreaking, but unfortunately not uncommon.
No, it highlights the challenges that, many students with disabilities face in forming social connections, but the book offers some really actionable advice for paraprofessionals and really anyone who works with students on how to facilitate those genuine friendships.
This is where the how-to gets really interesting. What are some of the strategies that stand out?
Well, simple things like pointing out shared interests can be a really good starting point. Helping students recognize what they have in common with their peers can go a long way. And then, coaching them on invitations, social skills, providing those little prompts can make a big difference.
What about offering rewards for social interaction? Does that have a place?
It can be helpful, but I think the key is to encourage natural interaction. So, for example, if a student completes a task well, maybe they get to play a game with a friend as a reward. It's about building positive associations with social engagement.
And sometimes the best support is simply stepping back and letting those natural interactions unfold organically,
Absolutely. Creating the conditions for connection is important, but then, we need to trust the students to take it from there.
which seamlessly leads us to academic support, another crucial aspect of the paraprofessional's role. The book really emphasizes that it's not about doing the work for the student, but rather,
Empowering them to do it themselves. And the story of Stephen, the student who was allowed to draw instead of write, is a great example of this.
oh yeah,
This simple accommodation not only helped Stephen, but it also sparked a positive change for the entire class.
it shows how the ripple effect of good support can benefit everyone. And it reminds me of that list of the book of challenging behaviors teachers face. It's interesting because the book points out that even adults engage in similar behaviors sometimes.
Yeah, it's a great reminder that we all have our moments and, approaching behavior with empathy is key.
So how do we move away from punishment and toward a more understanding approach?
Well, that's where positive behavior support, or PBS, comes in. It's a framework for understanding and addressing challenging behavior in a constructive and supportive way.
And the core belief of PBS is that
Behavior is communication. Every action, every outburst is a message trying to be conveyed. And I think the anecdote about Hayden tapping his classmate illustrates this perfectly. Remember Hayden? He wasn't trying to be disruptive, he just wanted to connect. Once the paraprofessional understood that, she was able to guide him towards a more appropriate way to interact.
that's a real light bulb moment. Instead of labeling a student as, bad, we recognize they're struggling to communicate a need.
Exactly. And it highlights the importance of observation, interpretation, and a willingness to look beyond the surface behavior.
And it makes me think about the importance of self-care for paraprofessionals. This job can be incredibly demanding, both physically and emotionally.
It's not just a nice to have, it's essential. Without proper self-care, burnout becomes a very real risk.
And the book actually dedicates a whole chapter to self-care strategies for paraprofessionals.
Right.
It acknowledges the emotional toll this job can take and provides, tools for thriving, not just surviving.
Absolutely. And emphasizing that self-care isn't selfish. It's about recognizing that to show up as our best selves for the students, we need to prioritize our own well-being.
So let's shift gears a bit and talk about some of the specific support strategies that the book outlines.
Sure.
It gets into the nitty-gritty of how paraprofessionals can best facilitate learning, in a respectful and empowering way.
And I think what's really interesting is that these strategies aren't just for students with disabilities.
Right.
They can benefit all learners.
Yeah, one big takeaway for me was the importance of providing support without simply giving it away.
Right. That's a subtle but really crucial distinction.
Yeah,
It's about empowering students to, seek help when needed rather than assuming they can't do something independently.
so it starts with those small things like, using a soft voice and making concepts more concrete.
Exactly. Visual aids, manipulatives, real-world examples, these can make all the difference in helping a student grasp a new concept.
The book also highlights the power of timers, especially for students who struggle with transitions or, time management.
Right. Timers provide that structure and predictability,
Right.
which can be so helpful in reducing anxiety and increasing, a student's sense of control.
And of course, we can't forget about the power of peer support.
Absolutely. Partner work, group projects, collaborative learning.
Right.
These are all fantastic ways to tap into the social dynamics of the classroom and create a more supportive learning environment for everyone.
The book even delves into some content-specific modifications,
Yeah.
like using books on tape for students who struggle with reading, or allowing students to draw their answers instead of writing them.
It's all about recognizing that there are multiple pathways to learning
Right.
and providing students with options that play to their strengths.
There's even this fun section with 21 ways to use a sticky note.
Oh, yeah. Sticky notes are so versatile. From visual reminders to mini agendas to brainstorming tools, they're a simple but powerful resource.
We've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
It seems like the book is making a compelling case for the vital role paraprofessionals play in inclusive education.
Absolutely. And it goes beyond, just the practical support they provide.
Right.
It's about their ability to build relationships, foster a sense of belonging, and really advocate for the needs of their students.
The book goes on to list a range of assistive technologies that can further support student learning,
Okay.
like text-to-speech software, communication devices, and adaptive keyboards.
It's a reminder that technology can be an incredible equalizer,
Yeah.
opening up possibilities for students with, a wide range of disabilities.
And before we wrap up, let's talk about some of the ethical considerations that come with this job.
Okay.
The book really stresses the importance of confidentiality and maintaining professional boundaries.
Yeah, these are really crucial aspects of the role.
Right.
Paraprofessionals often have access to, sensitive information about their students,
Of course.
and it's absolutely paramount that they handle it with discretion.
And there's that delicate balance of providing support without overstepping.
Right.
The book talks about avoiding the Velcro phenomenon.
Right, that tendency to become overly attached to a student.
Yeah.
We need to remember that the goal is to empower students to become as independent as possible.
Right.
Sometimes the best support is knowing when to step back.
This brings us to the book's final chapter, all about self-care for paraprofessionals.
That's where the book gets really personal.
Right.
Acknowledging the emotional toll this job can take.
It's not always easy to show up with patience and compassion day after day, especially when dealing with challenging behaviors or stressful situations.
The book encourages paraprofessionals to really prioritize their well-being.
Yeah.
Whether that's, taking breaks when needed, setting boundaries, or seeking support from colleagues or mentors.
Right.
There's a whole section on creative problem solving as well.
Which makes sense because this job is full of, unexpected challenges.
Absolutely.
It's crucial to have strategies for navigating those tough moments and finding solutions that benefit everyone.
And to wrap it all up, the book provides this really inspiring new job description for paraprofessionals.
Oh, wow.
Highlighting the heart and soul behind this work.
It really goes beyond, the technical skills and duties.
It talks about listening deeply, presuming competence, fostering connection, and ultimately leading with love. What stood out to you in that description?
The emphasis on building genuine relationships really resonated with me.
Yeah,
It's a reminder that human connection is at the heart of effective support.
absolutely.
But I'm also wondering how we can better recognize and support the invaluable work of paraprofessionals in our schools.
Yeah, that's a question we should all be asking.
Because these are the folks on the ground, right? Making inclusive education a reality.
They're the ones making those, daily decisions that impact a student's access to learning and their sense of belonging.
So as we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
I'm left thinking about how we can all be better advocates for paraprofessionals.
Exactly.
Whether we're educators, administrators, parents, or community members, we all have a role to play.
Absolutely.
It might be something as simple as, thanking the paraprofessionals in your child's school.
Right.
Or advocating for better training and compensation.
For sure.
Or even just spreading awareness about the incredible work they do.
Yeah, because when we invest in paraprofessionals, we invest in the success of all students.
And that's an investment worth making.
Absolutely.
Well, until next time, keep diving deep, keep learning, and keep championing those who make inclusive education a reality.
Thanks for listening, everybody.